Hello, everybody. This is E.J. here once again, and I'm coming here to talk about a very important crew of people, the Banana Bus Squad. Although a lot of people just call it the Vanoss Crew, Vanoss Gaming. Basically, I do work. Dahi Dinogla, Mr. Sark, Moose Knuckle, Big Jiggly Panda, 407, and others. We have a lot of people to talk about, and there is this member that is there's these sort of people that will come on that are kind of considered honorary members. Now, some of them were there from the very beginning. Someone like Racing Cats, for example, and some of them are more recent, like who's that? Legion, or someone like Smitty, for example, has always been around, but is more associated with the Goon Squad than the Vanoss crew. But there's a member that's been chilling out for about the past 2 months now, since 2025. Pasta, I believe it's Pasta Ravioli. Pastaroni Ravioli. I'm just going to call her Pasta. And she's very notable for a couple of, select aesthetic reasons. Oh my god, it's a woman and a VTuber. And she's also Southern, so you can't be cancelled. So I want to talk today about how I feel about her and the crew. Now, part of the reason I'm making this video, I want to make something very clear before I get into this, is for one, I have no I have no parasocial relationship going on with any of the members here, right? I'm not thinking of oh my god, Vanoss, if you say this or you say that, I gotta follow your steps. I gotta do everything you do. I'm gonna ask Nogla for advice on theology. I'm not like that. There are a couple of comments. It's this sort of loud minority problem that I've seen in certain places that they hate Pasta. They think she's annoying. Her voice is cancer. Her voice is ear torture. She doesn't add anything to the crew. She just laughs and laughs, and that's all her wit is. I'm gonna give my honest thoughts about Pasta in the crew. Now, I have been familiar with Pasta. There are a couple of sentiments in these loud minority comments. I call it loud minority because most people are like, "Oh, this part was really fun. I loved when she do this," or "I love her as a new member." It's a very rare minority of people that are like, and I don't like her as much. And it's a pretty loud minority because it even affected places like the subreddit, which I don't really browse the subreddit too much, but I got curious. I see these comments on YouTube. I'm like, what's happening over the subreddit? And I see a couple posts about it, and they're like, I'm not rocking with her either, but she's fine. For one thing, I've been familiar with Pasta for a little bit. I never watched her stuff, but I had watched Nogla's Among Us videos, which had Pasta. I believe that is the circle where they had first kind of found. Not sure what Nogla was actually playing with, if they were part of a crew, Pasta ones, but I had first heard of Pasta through there, and from there, one of the biggest sort of attachments to Pasta so far has been her laugh. Laughs are a big part of the Banana Bus Squad, because you think of Panda, you have the wheeze that Panda's often known for, or the cackling. You have Terrorizer doing the wheeze, or no, that Wildcat doing the wheeze, and Terrorizer doing the pig snort. And now you have Pasta sounding like you're trying to burp while you laugh. It's a very gurgly, internal laugh that is pretty unique, in my opinion. And just generally, I hadn't really watched a lot of their stuff. Just before this, people were saying to her, you should react to the Vanoss crew. So she did. She made a couple of videos from September to October. And from there, I assume Nogla got her into a couple of sessions. And they've been a mainstay, allegedly. And I'm saying allegedly because I'm speaking kind of on behalf of these people. I'm not sure if this is exactly how they feel, but allegedly, people are saying that the people in the crew actually like pasta because, in essence, it's fresh meat. Uh, at times, when you're playing the same game over a decade, it will get boring. And there have been many trends. People, and people like Vanoss or Nogla will joke about it, where it's like, "Oh, Fortnite took over all our friends," or "Oh, Among Us," when that was the big trend. Even kind of recently with Lethal Company. And personally, honest, I'll say this real quick. I got into Vanoss about late 2013, 2014, around like when he started to do GTA Gmod. Dipped off 2016. Actually, no, it was about 2017, I'd say. Started to come back in about 2019. There's a couple of Minecraft videos, primarily the Minority Squad video got me back interested in it. But it didn't take me until a couple months later, after Among Us videos, that I kind of got interested to watch what I was missing out on. And ever since about 2021, I've actually been watching it watching, like, primarily Vanoss, primarily Nogla and the Terrorizer, primarily, when it comes to reacts, I usually do NTR, or I will watch basically in Scotty's duo videos. But generally, that is how it is like my kind of circulation, right? And I've been, watching all of like Pasta's like videos that she's been in with the crew more properly since the year. And to be honest, I like her. I like her in the group. I think she has pretty good chemistry with the rest of the group because she fits a very unique role. Two roles. When Moose Knuckle retired from doing YouTube full time last year, part of the dynamic there, which is Moose is very kind of safe, vanilla kind of guy, which clashes a lot with Vanoss being edgy, Terrorizer being edgy, Nogla being a dumbass. You have this sort of chemistry there, and that kind of gets taken away. Pasta fits that role very uniquely because, one, she's not really familiar with the history of the Vanoss crew, unlike Moose Knuckle, which was there from the very beginning. Now, you have people like Legion, or maybe like, I think McNasty, that are kind of fitting that role too. But it kind of replaces what Moo, left with, if that makes sense. Because Pasta herself is safe at the moment. She's kind of, I'm not sure how edgy she actually is. When I saw her react to, edgy moments, it's always like, "What? He said that? Wow! I can't believe it." That type of, reaction. And, to be frank, I don't see her being super edgy or anything like that. It also kind of sounds like she's had a pretty, I don't know the actual term, I was going to say altruistic, but in essence, a very humble upbringing. At her age, she was working in the medical field, as she has pointed out a couple of times in through Vanoss's videos, believe it or not. Most recently with the COD Zombies video. I'm recording this on March 1st. I'm going to just upload it the same day. Maybe it's March 2nd. But in the COD Zombies video where they're doing a joke on Luigi Mangione with a Luigi Mansion map, there was a joke Vanoss said towards Pasta that was towards Pasta having a EGAT skin that was I actually forgot the exact, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically it's like, "Oh, you look like this like if he had cancer," because it was just a little single hair. And it's like Nogla's reaction is like, "Okay, in case you don't know, Pasta's had cancer before." I saw some people say, I'm not sure this is true, but I saw people saying, "Oh yeah, she had cancer and she was able to treat it, but now she can't have babies." Did she say this? I don't want to know if this is the first female member. You've had Vixen, and you've had randos in a couple of lobbies throughout the years. And there was one other member way back in the day, like what 2012, 2013, that I'm not familiar with because I wasn't watching the COD videos at that time. I was a bit too young for that. But like I just find the idea of it funny, where it's like, even if it's true, it's just um, the first Vanoss female, and she cannot get pregnant. I just find that funny because, like, a lot of the I think a lot of people watch Vanoss Crew, and it's like a good outlet for them. But now that there's a female, there's a couple of perverts there that are probably gonna get like, they're gonna get a bit weird. I'm gonna say they're gonna get a bit weird, especially with the uprising of like people joking about like gooning, joking, and shit. There's gonna be a lot of people that I think are gonna like jokishly like say, not like a lot of people, of course, but like the few comments that are like, pasta's so sexy. I wish I could goon her. Some like stupid shit like that. It reminds me years ago. There's this thing. I never got into shipping culture, but I am familiar with it, and I know that there was this kind of uptick 2016, 2017 with like shipping of YouTubers, like PewDiePie and Markiplier and Jacksepticeye would be a great ship. I do know that there was some stuff with Vanoss and Delirious because they're kind of jokishly. It was like this sort of jokishly gay couple, and now it's Nogla and Terrorizer. So, but that's besides the point. A little bit of a ramble there. But I just found that funny because even if that's true, I'm assuming it's not because I haven't looked into it. It might be true, but if it's fake, it's just like, it's so fucking stupid in my opinion. Just be like, yeah, she had cancer and uh, she can't have babies no more. That is the way she dealt with her cancer. You know what I mean? I'm a little bit weird about this. I'm making it much more of a weirder topic than it is because I'm being staying so long on it. But I mean, this is a pretty big deal because it unlocks a lot of jokes within the chemistry of the group. There's a huge mentality that people just recently with Terrorizer going on to I forgot the guy's name, but it was a podcast that's themed around a bar, and when he was going on there, he mentioned the quote unquote crew. There's a sentiment amongst the fans where it's like the Vanoss crew is super, like they can't be canceled, right? Like they've said so many edgy jokes. Some have even said certain slurs you can't use, and you can't cancel them. You could try to, but it's not gonna happen. And Wildcat Terrorizer has kind of said something similar to this. Um, Even Vanoss, in a way, basically their mentality is, as long as it's funny, I don't care. Like, there's some things that in your head is like, I don't really want to say it, but it's about trying to make it flow within the context of the group. Now, already with the female member here, it's already kind of being ramped up. You got bitch token. There's this moment in the GTA Dart videos I call it episode, but basically GTA Darts video, um, where Pasta was joking about the concept of bitch tokens. You can only say a couple of bitch tokens, and there's this, Wildcat goes over it by just going bitch, 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 and so goes into an effective deficit. There is I forgot which video I saw this on the GTA 5 Darts video. They actually do reference a comment that I'm not sure if it's legit or not. They reference like if the OP was legit or not, but they mentioned a comment. I think it was basically or Pasta that mentioned it. I don't know which session this was because it's not in Vanoss's video, it's not in Nogla's video, to my awareness. It must be in like Basically's or Terrorizer's video, but there was a mention of this comment that was like, allegedly it was something like, Pasta is just piggybacking off, or y'all are piggybacking off of Pasta, and like, you don't need this new member because like she's annoying, or it's something like they were joking about being pretty misogynistic, and like Pasta's reaction is like, how are you profiting, how are you like, or what's the right term? I was like, how are you guys um, using me as like some sort of piggybacking, because that implies that I'm above y'all when I'm pretty like small. That was her wording, and that was pretty funny just to see. I wonder if over time there'll be more of like jokes related to the audience, because it's clear that I don't think Pasta's really going to leave. I think Pasta might be here for a couple of months. I'm not sure if she'll be a mainstay, but a lot of people, because she's been in basically every video for the past 2 months now, have been basically calling her a de facto new member of the group, which is quite frankly interesting. Because you don't really have new members of the quote unquote group, because it's very loosely organized. You have all the people I mentioned at the beginning. I'm not going to mention them again because it's just annoying. You have all the people I mentioned at the beginning who are there either from the beginning. I think the latest you could kind of say was Panda. Panda was back in the day. I don't know. I honestly don't know who was the last, like, quote unquote, member to have been added at that time. Smitty's kind of considered part of the Vanoss crew, and I think he was around in like 2015, 2016. He had a huge run with them for a couple of videos then. But he's kind of considered part of the Vanoss crew, and that's honestly that's like the latest I can kind of think of. Because besides that, you have the one-offs. Like, is Miss Lene a part of the Vanoss crew? Kind of, but is it kind of because she's Terrorizer's girlfriend, or because she was in enough videos for fans that are hyper like focusing on like dumb shit like this care about it to put on like a Wikitubia page or in the YouTube comment? Pasta is now being considered the newest member. I don't know if it's too early to say that, but she's already like having the full treatment, going for Gmod, going for GTA, trying out new games. That's already like a pretty like that's like 90% of the catalog right there. Um, Maybe they'll have like a one-off Among Us video or a one-off Minecraft video. Depends as to how far the crew goes. Because I'm talking as a fan, I ain't know shit about how they deal with all this in their Discord and shit. I have no reason to, because I'm a ignorant nobody fuck in the middle of the internet. So I have no reason to figure shit like that out. But I do kind of wonder. I heard recently, I think it was, I don't know who said this, but I heard recently from like Terrorizer, like Vanoss or Pasta, somewhere in one of these videos, there was a mentioning of like, oh, it was on, okay, I remember, it was on Pick Me, the recent Pick Me video. There was a discussion, basically was saying this, that apparently Vanoss usually records on, like, usually gets ready for these sessions on like Tuesdays, but apparently they've also been trying to do this on Thursdays and Fridays, like the weekend time, because everyone else is busy with their lives. Um, so frankly, that's pretty interesting. So you have like free, like free dates that they're usually supposed to record on, especially because everyone's getting back into the mix and sort. So it's just interesting. This is more of a ramble about the Vanoss crew by this point, but frankly, I think Pasta's a pretty good addition to the crew, and I welcome her with open arms. And I also have no reason to act like I'm an authority in this, but that is the way of the YouTuber. If you're gonna make a video like this, you gotta sound like you're putting your 2 cents in because you are the person who cares like that. When in all reality, it's a bunch of friends and a couple of newbies, talking about some dumb shit and playing some games and just trying to have some fun. And what comes out of it is, it's a career, but it's just lucky. A lot of it's luck, in essence. You have some skill. You can't denounce Terrorizer. You can't denounce Vanoss, but that's, skill is not the reason you are watching Vanoss Crew. A lot of it's humor. I'm going to go back to one point I said earlier and then finish the video off, because I mentioned that Pasta kind of fills in 2 roles. Now, I mentioned the first one. If you remember, I mentioned that kind of fits Moose Knuckles' role of being very safe. She's not really making a lot of edgy jokes. She's not trying to jokishly do stuff like that. She's very safe and just kind of listening in on the conversations. mostly laughing along. Kind of like reminds me a lot of Panda in a way, but Panda's more edgy in that way. Um, the second role, this is going to be very interesting, is that Pasta is very unique. Nogla, for the longest time, Nogla is associated with the foolish dumbass, the person that gets basic things confused, misspeaks, almost like delirious. It's like the one brain cell Irish retard. Right? That's the concept of Nogla as a role in these videos. I know it's obviously people with like different like dynamics. Of course, there's like some fluidity about stuff, but the overall aesthetic, and even he will brand himself like this, is the dumb retard. But Nogla is surprisingly good at games, and I say surprisingly because you might have this memory of Nogla being like dumb because of like famous clips. DNF, dumb as fuck, or like Die Hard. Does it have Tom Cruise? But if you actually kind of look into how he plays his games, he's pretty competent at it. He's competent and at times a tryhard, like at Uno, for example, or at Mario Party. Um, like Gmod, he's competent. Like he's as competent, I say, as like Vanoss is. At least maybe he doesn't have the supervision that Vanoss has in that kind of like the increased spatiality, but he's at least pretty confident in what he does. But Pasta is very unique because she has not played most of these games before. So you get a very unique noob in the group. When people are trying out a game, because you have GTA, you have Gmod, they've played these for a decade, you pretty much know the jack of the tray, right? Even if you don't know the super basic technicalities of it, you at least know the jack of the tray. You know what is going on in the game. You know the conceptualization of it. But Pasta is such a newbie to these concepts that it adds a new dynamic. There was a clip recently with a Gmod prop hunt session that happened on the Five Nights at Freddy's map. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same one that has been used several times. It's based off the first Five Nights at Freddy's game. And there is this moment where Lil Can like runs, I think it was Terrorizer. Yeah, I think it was either Terrorizer or Vanoss, but one of them goes across and Pasta completely misses it. And Noga's like, "What the fuck are you doing? Your fat ass!" Like, you could see him with your fucking fat ass and shit. It's a very unique dynamic, is what I'm trying to say. I think people are going to come to appreciate it in a way. I don't think people are going to appreciate it now because, or I don't think these like minority group will like appreciate it now, because Pasta's kind of role right now as the person in the group is slowly becoming the noob, but she hasn't had time to really like have a superficial aesthetic from onto her. Because you look at the group, there's a lot of aesthetics that go along with the fandom that you could call it. Because I'm a fan, I know the idea of how someone's supposed to be based on how people say it, but honestly, it's not that like simple, right? Like when we're focusing on like what's considered what. Nogla's the dumbass. Vanoss is the master. He's good at his camera angles. He's good at his gameplay. Terrorizer is the tryhard and has shitty internet issues. Marcel is black. Like, that type of like association of character. Like, this is how he's supposed to react, right? Like Wildcat's a little edgy sometimes, but he's a pretty big tryhard too. So far, Pasta's really only been introduced more properly, unless you're like a big avid Nogla fan or Wildcat fan, because that's where you have had some experience if you'd watch those channels more. At least to my knowledge, maybe Terrorizer appeared in a couple of the Among Us sessions, or with there was a Uno type of game, I forgot what it was, that Nogla, Terrorizer, and a couple other people with Pasta were playing, that I really don't remember because they stopped playing it. But I also saw those videos a couple of years ago. I believe this was in 2023? late 2023. I want to say 2022, but I know it's not that far. But regardless, what I'm trying to point out is that Pasta fits a very unique role in that she is the noob of the group. And maybe over the year, we'll see her progress to become very, very, like, good at these games. But Pasta is kind of, also compared a lot to Panda because they both have infectious laughs. Panda's not good at games. He would even tell you that himself because he's done that in his videos before. Pasta to me seems like Panda. The question is, Panda's at least competent. Is Pasta gonna grow more competent, or is he gonna become more noobish, like a female Nogla or a female Pasta or female Panda? Yeah, female Pasta, of course, because Pasta. The whole group is a sausage fest. They've already made jokes like this before. That Pasta secretly has a penis, and she's actually not a girl. She's a dude that's acting like a girl. It's some crazy shit. But let me tell you, I'm liking Pasta's role in the group. Not that it's of my consideration, but I like the group. I like what Pasta's role in the group is. And I think, as long as she's around, I'm not going to get bothered by it. The only reason I wanted to really make this video, as I mentioned, was because I saw that loud minority of people. I'm just like, you know what? That would be a pretty good, idea to make a video to capitalize on the situation. So, that's all I gotta say. I rambled for about 30 minutes by this point. I know it's actually 26 as I am looking at my time and my little clock, but I don't care about stuff like that. I'll say what the hell I want to say. And I hope you all enjoy.